I've been dealing with a situation with a neighbor for a little over 10 years. They owned one property, bought the one next door, rented out the other property. Police have been called numerous times, too many to count, over the past 10 years to both of those properties for them. Mostly domestic violence, fighting with his family, whatever, threatening, communicating threats, public drunkenness, yada, yada, yada. Long story short, um, I'm going to go over three incidents in the past, like, 3 weeks real quick. One incident, um, about 1:30 in the morning, we hear all this racket, lights flashing, everybody's looking out. The neighbor above him's yard, and she's home by herself at the time, and he knows it. He has a wrecker of some sort pulling in to get his truck that's been sitting in the same spot for at least 3 days. And come through their yard, through their driveway, without their permission, without letting them know anything's going on, whatever. And she thinks somebody's stealing his car. So she calls the cops. And they come checking on it. He invites him to stay and play poker, hang out, have a drink, shows him his new vehicle, tells him how he's got all this money from inheritance, blase, blase. They leave. Pretty much it, as usual. Um, then a few days later, he's got that same new truck out, I believe, in his yard. But a few days later, it's about 1:30, I think, probably about 1:15 in the afternoon, because I was getting ready to leave to go to work, and I think I had to be there at 2 that day. Um, he comes beating on the bedroom window, and I honestly think he's looking for my dog that had just passed away a few days before. Um, that's a whole nother subject I really don't want to get into because it's very emotional and from one spectrum to the other. But I figured that's what he's wanting to talk about. So I look at my mom and say, "Hey, look, can you go get that door? I'm gonna go deal with the baby. I'm just not wanting to deal with him right now at all." And she goes and answers the door. Of course, it's him, and he's saying, "Call 911, call the sheriff's department. There's been a murder. There's a dead body." He's got knives in his hand. He's very erratic, sweaty, whatever. She doesn't call him fast enough, or they don't immediately arrive when she pulls out her phone, whatever. So he takes off running across the street to the neighbor above him, beating on their door, telling him the same thing. Then takes off running to the one below us. I don't think anybody answered there. The girl that lives on the property he originally lived on comes out her door. I guess she's going to work. Jerks the phone out of her hand, cusses her out, throws phone on the ground, rips his shirt off, throws it on top of it, and apparently, I think he threw the knives on the ground at that time. Proceeds to run out in the middle of the road, stopping vehicles, whatever. Um, Sheriffs arrive on the scene. He's in the middle of the road. They ask him about knives. Are they in his pants or whatever? He's already ripped his shirt off and it's laying down. He has nothing on but jeans, and he may have even been barefoot. I'm not sure. At that point, when they asked him that, he drops his pants in the middle of the street, standing in his tidy whities. He pulls them back up, points to the knives or whatever, and has a conversation for about 5 minutes with the 5 carloads of sheriff's deputies that pulled up, and proceeds to whatever they said to him. He ran into his house like they set his ass on fire, and disappeared. Actually, didn't come out for about 2 days at that point. So they go to leave, and I guess they saw us and the neighbors across the street and the woman down there. Plus, they watched him stop several vehicles just in the middle of the road randomly. Um, I don't know what was said because I wasn't trying to hear. But they pull up and they tell us basically it's not against the law to be crazy. And I'm like, probably not. But there is something called a 5150 hold for observation. And I'm pretty sure there is something against the law about being publicly intoxicated. He wasn't on his property, he was in the middle of the street. Paved road maintained by the state. We live in a subdivision, but it is a paved road maintained by the state that we live in. So it's public. And you're hearing him recorded in the 911 call saying there's been a murder and there's a body. You're having three different people, separate residents, tell you the same thing. Nobody went in his house. Nobody went around his house. There could still be a body laying there. He might have really killed somebody. We don't know. We have no clue. None. They tell us to go take charges out on him. We do that. This erratic person that you said is crazy, that's already running up down the street with knives, it's going to drop his pants in the middle of the street, that's telling people there's been a murder and there's a body. You want us to go take out papers on them that they get served, that have our name on them, so that when they come home, we're harassed even worse than we already have been for all these years. I mean, I've had naked wrestling in my front yard. I've had mailbox run over a bazillion times. Driven through the yard, walked through our yard cussing us, beating on doors, running up down the street. Every 15, 20 minutes in and out in a little pickup truck that has no muffler, rolls back, guns it to go up the hill because they're in a straight drive, in and out all night long, not able to get rest, got to work the next day, no respect whatsoever. And there's nothing we can do, we're told, because he owns the property. And there's nothing for them to arrest him or do to him. So fast forward 2 nights. It starts about 12:30 in the morning and went until around 2:45 a.m. I'm gonna do the best I can. It was recorded. This cell phone right here. Nothing special. Just plain old cell phone. Out on my front porch. You walk out my front door, take a left, 3 steps, and you'll sit where I was sitting. Take 2 steps forward from where I was sitting, and that's where the phone was laying, on the rail of the porch. I'm going to play it. I'll show you the video. I'm going to put it near my microphone and hope that it'll pick it up. I'm starting, you can see, I'm starting at 12 minutes. I'm trying to get it where you can actually see what it says without the ring light glaring. It's 12 minutes and I think 40 seconds in. I got like 31 minutes recorded. I'm not going to subject you to all that because it is, as you can see, the video is just black. And there's absolutely maybe a flash of light here and there on the screen, but that's it. And thank whoever you pray to, God, Jehovah, Buddha, the universe, whatever, that it didn't record video because we got to see him dancing along with the lyrics we're hearing and everything else. I'm just going to go into it and let it start playing. Hopefully you guys can hear this. By the way, that clapping is him, not the music. Stop for a minute for copyright purposes, as well as for me to say, hopefully you guys can hear it as clear as I can. If you can't, I do apologize. But I do want this record on here. One, noting the complaints that we've had, the length of time we've dealt with it, and two, maybe somebody will see it that can give us some advice, because it's very hard to be up to 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning dealing with this. And when he gets on a roll, he gets on a roll. It'll happen for 2, 3, 4 weeks straight. And then we may have a couple weeks of rest. And then you're going to go that cycle again. Generally, it starts the first of the month and goes to around 15th, 20th. There's about a week break, and the first hits, and we go all over again. It's hard to deal with and be able to get up and go to work the next day, especially when you have a child that's 3 years old in the house. And it's not safe a lot of times. I mean, if this is happening at 1 something in the afternoon to where somebody's running up down the street with knives and they're still here because they own the property, would you feel safe letting a 3-year-old play in the yard? I'm just saying. Even if you're out there to supervise, you don't know what this person may or may not do, or whom they may or may not think you or the child is. Okay, back to the concert. Okay, so I'm gonna fast forward just a little bit to where we can get to the end of the song so you can hear him better. I think he says goodbye and goodnight or something to that effect. I also don't want to get copyright infringements here. The clapping is not part of the song. That is him. Okay, I'm gonna stop it there. Hopefully, the microphone was able to pick him up talking. Like I say, just recorded through my cell phone, as you can see. It's a backup phone, not my current one. And just to give you an idea, I'm a minimum of 500 yards away from where this person was at in their driveway. I mean, there's a little bit more narrow than your average 2 lane road separating. Plus, our front yard is pretty large, and his is not small. So, I was at least 1,500 yards away when this old school LG cell phone recorded what I was just playing. In person, and I've tried with the little Bluetooth speaker I have and whatnot, it is a lot louder than what it was, or what it seems to be playing on the recording. Again, I'm recording this for more purposes than one. I find it funny. Hopefully, somebody can get a chuckle out of it. Hopefully, somebody else that may be dealing with something with a neighbor or whatever, will feel like they're not alone. And maybe somebody watching it can actually give us some advice, because we're not getting any useful advice from law enforcement. I'm sorry, but women are the homes that he's targeting. That he knows there's only women there right then. That's one. Two, the number of times that you guys have been called out here and the charges that he's faced, we've never pressed charges and dropped them. That's his wife, not us. That's one. Two, or actually, I think I'm on point three. But anyway, we shouldn't have to be dealing with this. I mean, isn't that what you guys are here for? Aren't y'all to protect and serve? I mean, I know the city police cars, that's exactly what they say on them, to protect and serve, that we have here. I'm not saying that, I get it. I get the atmosphere and what's been going on with law enforcement and the arrest and whatnot. But this man was running up and down the street, standing in the middle of the street when you guys rolled up. No shirt on. You've had at least 3 people call. And I know one of them, you could hear him shouting in the background, "There's been a murder. There's a dead body. Call the police now." To me, given this man's history of violence and what I was told by law enforcement, that his violent history was in another state before he moved here years ago and married this lady. I don't understand why you wouldn't investigate to see. Maybe he didn't tell you what he told us, but we ain't had the law called on us. The whole time, the, the whole 10 years, we may have had law on our property or police on our property, I think once. And it wasn't even us. It was a domestic dispute that the neighbors ran up here in our yard. Like, we don't violate the law. And normally we don't call them, even for them. That shit went on for 2 hours and a half nearly, from starting at 12:30 a.m. on a weeknight. I had to work the next day. My daughter had to work the next day. Do you think we could sleep? Do you think the 3-year-old could sleep? So anybody that has any advice on what we could do, remember, it's not just a landlord-tenant situation. We can't just get him evicted. He owns that property and the adjacent property that he rents out to someone else. And taking out trespassing or harassment charges could be putting our lives in danger, given the current circumstance. And given my past 4 years ago, dealing with this again is really hard. I went through a very serious abusive relationship, and I will eventually make a video on it when I'm able to talk about it. And I mean emotionally, physically, and mentally able to talk about it in depth. What I will say is what I went through, I still suffer PTSD diagnosed from, and I probably will for the rest of my life. I've had to learn coping mechanisms. Certain things are triggers. This is a huge trigger for me. And That's why I'm asking for help and advice. I need help. I need advice. So in my comment section, if you have any advice, please give me that advice. Because I don't know what to do. Like I see, this person owns a property. We own our property. Short of, you know, one person or the other moving, I don't know. I don't know. And we've lived here 30 some years, you know what I mean? And it gets old fast. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. Um, please continue to tune in and show me your support. You're much appreciated. I have another app to bring you guys and a video on how to use it coming. I have a Shein order. I think I've got 13, 14 items. We're going to do an unboxing, give you a price list. And I'm going to show you how to get those items for that price. I think the most expensive item I ordered was maybe around $5. And I have like 5 dresses, a couple shirts, some jewelry and such in it. Again, I'll show you how to do that. And we're going to go over this app. It's my favorite app that I've got coming up for you guys. Thank you so much. Nothing but love, peace, and happiness.